What is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Happy Monday, everybody. And today we are going to be reacting to a new NBA mock draft that was put out by The Athletic last week. And this is going to be by Sam Vecenie, their top NBA draft guy. And I love his content and his kind of view take on the NBA draft as a whole. And yeah, we're just going to react to his mock draft today. You guys do enjoy the mock draft content. And we've done ESPN's, we've done Bleacher Reports, we've done The Athletic. So this may be the last draft content video you guys get here on the Just Ballin channel / podcast until maybe after the deadline. And that's what I'll be doing, kind of some more mocks over after that, as we kind of know where some of these draft picks are going to be at the end of the year. Conference play has been through. Shout out to my team Temple upsetting Memphis on Thursday. And yeah, they beat a ranked team. They stormed the court. I wish I was there, but yeah, no, we're here in conference play, and let's react to this mock. So his first thing, I guess a few notes before we get into this. So the order might be a little bit different than like what the records are now. Draft order is based on team record as January 5th, so that's a little bit outdated. So take that into consideration. Team needs are not taking into account. There's not much reason to do that at this stage, given that trades will likely occur throughout the year and rosters will look different than they do now. Once the trade deadline passes, we will get into that zone. So this is basically a big board, in a sense. Player ages are as projected day of draft day in 2025, which is June 25th, which I don't know if we have the draft date yet. I think Shams usually tweets that out. I actually want to go into that after, but I think or Woj Shams usually tweets that out early in January. So hopefully we get that soon. Cooper Flag, New Orleans Pelicans, #1 overall, makes all the sense in the world, I believe. I wonder if this did come out or before. It doesn't mention it. Yeah, but the 42 or whatever point performance, which set the ACC freshman record against Notre Dame, and Cooper Flag for what he could be in the NBA as an elite two-way player. Yes, an elite two-way player. He's the best defensive prospect at #1 overall we have seen outside of Wemby, of course. Better defensive prospect than Paolo, than Ant, than Cade, than Zion, than Aiden, who was before Aiden in 17. Better than Fultz. Probably since Ben Simmons, defensive prospect-wise, you could say. And Flag is leading Duke at every single statistic this year, and he's a freshman. He may win the Wooden Award as a freshman since Chani Broom recently got hurt, which is incredible for what he's doing. And Duke has had a long history of talented freshmen, and he's doing better than what Jason Tatum did there, or he's playing better than Tatum, Paulo, Brandon Ingram. It's an incredible year for Cooper Flag. Zion as well, at least when you're taking into account two-way play. Maybe not Zion, because Zion was incredible at Duke, and I don't want to forget that. But yeah, what Flag could be at the NBA level. I think I might talk a little about fit just a little bit, because I think him on the Pelicans, obviously, it should kickstart a new era where your hopeful start, if they get the #1 pick, I'd like to see Cooper Flag at the 4 next year, Yves Missi at the 5, and I think Yves Missi could benefit playing with Cooper Flag defensively, like Kaman Mayu watches currently at Duke. I want to see Trey Murphy at the 3, I want to see Herb Jones at the 2, and you can have DeJounte Murray at the 1. I want CJ McCollum as the 6th man, or traded. I want Ingram off the team, and I want to see some assets that you get from Ingram in the offseason, and I want to see Zion off the team and the assets you get for Zion, and I want this to be, you know what? This was a disastrous year, but you getting the #1 pick should be just like a blessing in disguise, or it should be like a sign. Let's start off a new era of Pelicans basketball. Maybe do a rebrand. This team has not made it to the conference finals. I can't even tell you since when, off the top of my head. The Anthony Davis years, the best they made it to was round 2. They made it to 1 playoff series, I think, since the Anthony Davis trade, and they got bounced in round 1 by the Pelicans, or excuse me, by the Suns. So yeah, let this be a start of new Pelicans basketball. Rebrand. Can you be the New Orleans Jazz again? Do something like that and have Cooper Flag on your squad. Next up, Washington at 2, they take Dylan Harper. This is how I would do this right now. And yeah, Dylan Harper, great combo guard this year at Rutgers. I think a big question mark for him is going to be, how is his shot going to translate? Because you can see the defensive potential. He's got a fantastic ball handle for somebody at 6'6", which can allow him to play multiple positions. He could be the 1. He could be the 2. He could play with Emmanuel Quickly in Toronto, or he could play with DeJounte Murray in New Orleans, which is, I think, exciting about Harper as a prospect. He's not a true point guard. He can be a combo guard in the level, and we'll see how the defense progresses as well over the course of the year, but he can put up monster numbers, and he's a very good decision maker. I think the defense also has gotten better since conference play started, which is encouraging, and he doesn't really have the greatest teammates there. Obviously, a lot of his assists can come to Ace Bailey, who I'm sure we're going to get to soon, but Harper, love him as a prospect. He's better than, he would go #1 in the 2023 draft for sure, or excuse me, 2024 draft. In 23, I think I like him better as a prospect than Scoot, but I'm always going to have a different mindset on Scoot now, because I love Scoot as a prospect, but obviously his NBA play has made me a little scared of like evaluating that type of guy again. But maybe Harper would be up there with Brandon Miller and Scoot. But he's incredible, and Washington could use somebody like Harper. It would stink not getting Cooper Flagg, but now you have, I think, your true backcourt partner with Bub next year. You figure that out. I don't love Dylan Harper with like Jordan Poole. It's just like, I wish Washington didn't have Poole and Kuzma on their team, but they're kind of stuck with those guys right now. Hopefully they're able to move Kuzma at the deadline. Toronto, we got Ace Bailey. Okay, so he's Ace Bailey going number 3, which I still have Ace 3. It's kind of like a 3A Ace, 3B Yakushonis. And Yakushonis, I think, is going to be 3 at the end of the year, and Bailey's going to be 4. But if you have Ace outside your top 10, like I tweeted this out on Friday, that if you have him outside of your top 10, you're just trying to be edgy at this point. Someone that's 6'10", has elite shot-making ability at 18 years old. He's at Rutgers right now. And what we saw in high school, and like he was great at high school, and at Rutgers, obviously he's not been the best 3-point shooter in the world, but the mid-range I think has been just fine. He needs to, I think, be a little bit better at getting to the rim, stop picking up his dribble, and the playmaking could obviously be a lot better. But he's 6'10". His explosiveness for somebody at 6'10" is incredible. He's not a perfect ball handler, like he's nowhere near Dylan Harper, but he's 6'10". You look at Derek Queen in this draft at 6'10", compare him to Ace Bailey. He does have elite shot making potential at the NBA level. And if he ends up being Michael Porter Jr., that is worth a top 5 pick in this draft, because Michael Porter Jr. is a damn good player that's making a lot of money. There's a lot of busts that come through the NBA draft, and I don't think Ace Bailey is going to be one of them. There are some risks to his game, and I think he needs to go to the right situation, because that bust potential could increase a ton if it's not in the right environment. But I just think you're trying to be a little bit edgy if you don't have him there. Him in Toronto is a weird fit, because you're going to wonder about him as a top option there, which you're now behind RJ and Scotty Barnes, and then you're getting in Quickly's reps and Jakob and Grady Dick. And we'll see like what Jacoby Walter gets next year too with his field goal attempts per game. And if his 3-point shot isn't there, you're gonna have a lot of inconsistent 3-point shooters. That may be one of the worst floor spacing teams with him. If Scotty's not a great 3-point shooter, if RJ's not a great 3-point shooter, Jakob's not a shooter. And yeah, he's gonna be 19 all his rookie year as well. Yeah, and I think, so he has got Bailey number 4 on his board. So, like, yeah, I'm confused then what this mock is if it's not a big board. So, team needs are not taken into account, but then it's different than your big board. That's a little confusing. All right, so going here to number 4, we have Kasparas Yakushonis. Him and Charlotte, also a weird fit in a way, just because I think he could be best as, like, a true point guard, and they have LaMelo Ball, and would you maybe think about LaMelo Ball being a little bit more off-ball, no pun intended, and him can play a little bit more shooting guard? You would have a very tall, lanky backcourt with Kasparas and LaMelo, and I think if LaMelo misses some time, which it has been pretty much every year since his sophomore year, Kasparas can slide in as a really good point guard, and that's why I kind of like the idea of Reed Shepherd going to Charlotte at the time versus Stephon Castle, and neither of those two were on the board when Charlotte was picking at 6, but Kasparas Yakushonis, I think, is one of like the most intriguing prospects in this class, just because of how efficient he is, how fast he is with the ball in his hands, and he isn't the most athletic player in the world, and I think he isn't the greatest defender in the world, but he's somebody that I think can read plays 2 steps ahead, and he's a great free throw shooter. Like, I think his shot is going to translate a ton, and yeah, he's played very good teams this year as well in the Big Ten, which is maybe not the best conference, but it's pretty competitive. And yeah, he does turn the ball over a lot, but I think when you're watching some of the turnovers, it's more so like him maybe throwing the pass just a little too fast, and it goes off his teammates' fingertips. It's not like he's getting his pocket cleaned 4 times a night. So, yeah, I think there are some risks to his game for sure, and I think fit could matter a ton with him. I would really like to see him in like Utah if they don't end up with Cooper Flagg, and they don't end up with a top 4 pick in this mock. So number 5, we have the Utah Jazz selecting VJ Edgecombe, one of, if not the best athlete in this class. I think him and Rasheer Fleming are up there, and I think Cooper Flagg is an incredible athlete as well. And Edgecombe has struggled with his shot this year for sure at Baylor, and I think that's kind of got into his diet a little bit overall in the half court, and what he can be as a top shooter at the NBA level. Like, can he be somebody that's a top 3 field goal attempts player on your team? Maybe not, but I think what he could be as a point of attack defender, as an off-ball defender, how he can read defenses, how he can get out and running in transition, and if he could just shoot a little bit better from 3, I think he can like cement himself as the 5th best player in this class behind the top 4 we talked about. He's still my number 5 guy, but I do want to just keep an eye on the shooting over the course of the year. Sam mentions he made over 40% from 3 off the catch in each of the last 2 seasons at Long Island Lutheran. I'm not sure if that's like synergy data or that is public data, because sometimes finding high school stats are a little tough, just because if they're bad, they're not going to be publicized. But if they're good, hey, they'll definitely be out there. Utah, though, for as bad of a season they're having, I think they want to get a little bit luckier in the lottery. I think they want one of these top 4 guys just to sell the fan base something. Because like Cody Williams and Hendricks being your last 2 top 10 picks, maybe not the most exciting part about their rebuild. We have Asa Newell going here to the Portland Trailblazers at 6. I think this is a little high for Newell. Incredible athlete, can put the ball on the floor. He struggled with his 3-point shot this year, and if he does have a 3-point shot, that can really skyrocket his value. And I'm fine with Portland looking at somebody that they could put at their forward spots with Denny long term. Like, they're not taking a center here because of Klingon. It's risky taking another guard with Simon, Sharp, and Scoot on this team. I would maybe look, I don't know, I still believe in Scoot. I know it's kind of crazy. Is there a true point guard here? I think like what Jaeger Demon could be or Jeremiah Fears, I don't think they're going to be better than Scoot Henderson with this potential that Scoot can show flashes like he did against Brooklyn, where he had 38, 39 points in that one. I'm trying to think like who I would rather have here. I mean, oh my God, Portland's so bad this year, and you had like Con Knipple. That's not very exciting. I don't think you want to add like a Derek Queen or a Lee McNeely. No, it's tough, man. It really is. Like, I don't think you're like, we can kind of go through some of the other guys that are selected after here. I like Con Knipple. 6 may be a little bit rich. I do want to pull up my recent draft board where I did have Trey Johnson here. I think I'd rather have Trey Johnson go to Portland, but I do like the idea of Newell instead of Fears, Fland, and Demon, who I have basically going after Trey Johnson. But if I take Trey Johnson here, I would probably want Anthony Simons off my basketball team just because, I mean, he's a free agent at the end of next year, and I don't really think he serves you much value on this Blazers team that's probably going to be bad again next year. Sorry, Blazers fans. We have Jaeger Demon go to the Nets at 7. I don't mind this here for them. I think they could take a chance on somebody that's a 6'9 guard that has good ball handling ability, but isn't like that quick. I think he's going to struggle blowing by defenders and has that first step. I feel like for Sam here, Jaeger is probably going to drop a little bit on the board over the last few weeks because since Big 12 play has started, it's not looked great for Demon over at BYU, and I think now he's in talks of like being a fringe lottery pick. Like, they had, I think, one of the easiest strength of schedules on non-conference play. So now that they're playing better teams, is it going to be like this is good competition for Jaeger in the Big 12? Can he step up? This is where he can make or break some of his draft stock. I like him going to a team like Brooklyn that seems like they have a good head coach in Jordi Fernandez, and it seems like they're entering into a multi-year rebuild still, and they can give him a ton of time to develop. So I like Demon to Brooklyn. 7 might be a little bit high with some of these guys on the board. Like, I think I'd rather take a chance on Jeremiah Fears here, or Boogie Fland or Ian Jackson or one of those guys. But I don't mind Demon to the Nets overall. Liam McNeely going to the Kings at 8. Yeah, I mean, if the Kings are picking at 8, Fox might not be on this team then, so they may look at Jeremiah Fears. So I like Liam McNeely going to Sacramento. I mean, if their pick is not top 12, that pick goes to Atlanta. And I feel like if they're picking in the top 12, Fox is not going to be on this team next year. But I like Liam here because if you are going to be open about trading Keegan Murray and Kevin Huerter potentially at the deadline, you can look to add some shooting with McNeely, who's been a great 3-point shooter as advertised at UConn this year. I think his defense is a little bit better than what I expected it was going to be going into the year. And he can also play make a little bit as well. And I think it's just a good connecting piece at the NBA level because he played at a high prestigious program at Montverde last year in high school. He's playing at a prestigious program right now at UConn. So he's going to have the right coaching going to, I don't know if it's going to be Doug Christie or a different coach next year if this is where he lands. We have Con Knipple going to the Thunder at 7, or excuse me, at 9. This is via Philly. Philly ending up with the 9th pick after this disastrous season and not getting it is a little scary, but I like Con more than Liam McNeely in this draft because I think he could be a little bit better of a playmaker. I think he's a little bit stronger with finishing at the rim, and I think has a little bit more defensive upside. And his shot, I think, maybe a little bit more safe. Now, I don't think he's shooting as high 3-point percentage-wise, but the free throw percentage is elite. The form is elite. He was a great shooter in high school. And maybe Duke with all these names here with Gillis and or James and Maui Watch and Flag and Proctor. There's a ton of talent there on Duke, and I think Con can sometimes be not as involved as he should, but I think he's getting involved enough where he's going to be a lottery pick. And him and OKC, if they eventually, or if they end up trading like Aaron Wiggins or Isaiah Joe in a bigger trade, boom, they can replace that right there. And you're adding guys like Nikola Topic. They're going to have like 2-3 first-round picks in this draft. And they just beat the Cavs on Thursday by 30. Oh my God, the Thunder, they may run the league for the next few years. We got Trey Johnson there at number 10. And yeah, Trey Johnson is somebody that, I mean, is a score first guy, but he's incredible, man. His mid-range shot in high school was great. It's great this year at Texas. He did get off 2. I mean, I think I could pull up his his game log here against Big 12 play, but he struggled to start off in his like first 2 games, and then he had a really good game against Tennessee. It's his 26-point performance against Tennessee. He did shoot 40% from 3 against Oklahoma in their win. Maybe struggled a little bit inside the arc. I didn't get to catch that game, but he's averaging 18.7 points per game this year, and he's been a good player for the Texas Longhorns. And 6'6" wing, I think this is a little bit low. Like, I think like Cam Thomas is a good like shades of kind of like pro comp. So like him to Brooklyn at 7, I get that, especially if Cam Thomas is on the team. But I would take him at number 6 to Portland. Sacramento at 8, I don't hate, but I kind of like McNeely as a like a do-it-all connecting piece. I think Johnson has a little bit more like primary scoring upside. OKC, I can see not wanting Trey Johnson. I think Detroit, yeah, like a 10 would take Trey Johnson if he was on the board. And I think they're going to be picking outside the lottery or, well, so if they make the playoffs, they don't get their pick. That's going to go to Minnesota. And then if they don't make the playoffs, I think it's either top 12 protected or something like that. So we'll see if they end up getting it. San Antonio at 11 taking Ben Seraph, which I feel like is a popular mock. I don't know if it's the Manu Ginobili comps and him going new San Antonio, but he's playing good competition over there in Germany. He's got great size and great court vision for somebody as his size. I think the one concern is his shot. He's been like not a great 3-point shooter this year, but he's had his good games for sure. And he had his good games in the under 18s last year. So I think Seraph would be intriguing for San Antonio. And you're getting this from the DeMar DeRozan sign and trade back in the 2021 offseason. And I think I would like this fit. I would. I wonder if he'll double up on international players to San Antonio. So next up at 12, we got Jeremiah Fears going to Houston, which I don't hate either. But this team, I don't know if they would want to add another like guard that's kind of raw as a prospect, but has great upside. Now, if you think he could be in the backcourt with Jalen Green or Amen Thompson over time, and you think Amen could play multiple positions, which it seems like he can, I think Fears is not as good of a prospect as Reed Shepherd was. And you're seeing Reed Shepherd spend some time in the G League where he's scoring a lot down there, but it's kind of struggling for him to make this team. But Fears, 18 years old, I think he's somebody you can develop. And if you're going to take a point guard, I'd rather them take a point guard that you can kind of groom a little bit and let develop and can spend some time in the G League that can be really good on year 3 and year 4 of the rookie contract than somebody that's like 21, 22 years old and you kind of need to play them right away. I mean, like Cam Jones, would be fun in Houston, but I don't know if that's the best fit for kind of a little redundant of the players they've drafted over the last few years. So next up at 13, we got the Golden State Warriors taking Nolan Traore. Is this supposed to be the Steph replacement down the line? I kind of hate this. I mean, this is basically saying we're done with Steph Curry. I mean, I think like you have Pods, you have Curry. I think they're going to make a trade. We'll see. But I don't think he could play. I mean, he could maybe play adjacent to Steph because he's a good ball handler and he could be like a good point guard, quarterback for this team, get his teammates involved. And I think has defensive upside at like 6'3", 6'4". And we'll see where his like height finalized is at, but he's playing good competition in France. He struggled with the efficiency. I think he could operate well in this Golden State Warriors offense. And obviously Steph, great off-ball player, but he's going to be 37. I mean, they're probably trading this pick, right? Noah Essengate going to the Spurs at 14. So we've now doubled up on Rashael Farm players. Him and Ben Seraph do play on the same team over there in Germany. And I think he's somebody that has great defensive upside with his long wingspan. He's 6'8". He can guard multiple positions already. And yeah, if you want to put him at like a small ball 5, let him run the floor, have good footwork there. And I think he can develop into that over time. Who knows? He may grow an inch or two, kind of like we've seen Bilal Koulibaly come out of France. And he's grown. And I think San Antonio, if they're going to have 2 firsts, I don't think they can have 3. Because Charlotte's not making the playoffs. They can take a little bit more of a riskier pick here in Essengate and let them develop over time. Because they got a lot of guys they want to give minutes to next year. Depending on, like if Chris Paul retires, but Castle's going to play more, you hope Vassell can bounce back a little bit from a down year. And then their other first round pick, which is going to come via Atlanta. Indiana going Derek Queen at 15. I'm surprised they would take Queen over Maliwatch. Queen, I think I don't know, you worry about what he could be defensively. Is he going to be mobile enough to be a good enough defender to help like weak side, be able to recover at the NBA level, be athletic enough to get rebounds against bigger, stronger guys in the NBA. But he's got a great touch inside. He could be a good backup center. I don't know if he's ever going to be like a long-term starting center at the NBA level, but I think could be a very good backup and like a tweener. Like he could start sometimes, maybe better coming off the bench. He's efficient. He can catch alley-oops. And Indiana does need a center. Like Miles Turner's a free agent. I expect him to be back, though. Isaiah Jackson's a restricted free agent and is out for the year. Wiseman's out for the year. Thomas Bryant's been kind of solid for them. So I wonder if they would go center here at 15. 16, OKC going LeBaron and Philon. We had them go, who'd they get earlier? They ended up getting, was it Khan? Yeah, they got Khan, which I love that fit. So they get LeBaron File on a point guard out of Alabama, which I'm not as high on LeBaron here at 16. I think this is a little bit high, and I think he's kind of raw as a prospect. And like, I don't know. He says he's a 6'4" guard. He's a smaller guard. I don't know. I guess you're trying to figure out if he's like a point guard or a shooting guard. I think he's probably more of a point guard. He's very skinny right now, so I think he needs to put on some more weight. Maybe he does stay another year at Alabama. We'll see next year because Mark Sears won't be on the team, so he may get a little bit more run time. And OKC could take a chance on him, but I know like he didn't want us to talk about fit too much. I just think like with Topic there, and you obviously have Shea being your point guard till he retires. I don't know if that's worth the chance. Thomas Sorber going to the Spurs at 17. Oh, wait, no, yeah, they could have 3 first-round picks. Ignore what I said before because the Chicago does not get their first-round pick this year. This is going to be the worst possible year for them. But San Antonio going back up center at 17. I mean, you could probably play Sorber inside a little bit if Wemby is going to be a big three-point shooter for the rest of his career. I think I like Sorber more than Tillman. I feel like he plays a little bit better and he's a better rim protector as well. And I don't think has the shot that maybe Tillman at least once showcased at a point in his career. But he's a very good help defender. And I think he's just going to be a good rim protector, solid rebounder, and can honestly find an open man. He's got good court vision for somebody at 6'10". And we'll see if he stays another year, but I don't think so. I just don't really like him going to San Antonio. I guess we're supposed to, I don't know, like we're supposed to be looking at this as a big board. Noah Penda going to the Nets at 18, somebody that could definitely be a fun ad for Brooklyn, for somebody that's supposed to be a good defender, coming over, from the French league, and he's got a good wingspan. You took, who did they take earlier again? They took, Yegor Demon, so you're kind of going massive upside with the length here, with their first 2 picks. And we'll see if he's going to be a good 3-point shooter, if the shot is going to look good enough at the NBA level. Utah going Cam Jones at 19. Like, I hate this fit for Cam Jones. I'm going to just start talking about team fit as well. But, like, Cam Jones going to Utah? No, I want to see Cam Jones go to a team that's going to make the playoffs because that's where I think he could be, like that Devin Carter. I said, like, Corey Kispert a couple years ago, like, type player that can make an impact with their specialist role. And what Cam Jones can do is he can pass, dribble, defend, rebound, shoot, finish inside, great footwork. Man, I would love to see him be on a team that's going to be in the playoffs in 2026. And that won't be the Utah Jazz. Colin Murray-Boyle is going number 20 to OKC. Seems kind of low. This pick is from the Clippers. One of the best defenders in this class. You could make an argument he's the second best defender after Cooper Flagg in this class. He's 6'8", though, so he's a little bit undersized for somebody that could be used as a center, and he doesn't have really much of a three-point shot to have that value as like a floor-spacing big, but he can guard multiple positions, and I honestly wouldn't think he's like far off from like a Tari Eason if the shot could come around. Definitely not as good as what Eason had at like Cincy or LSU, or like at least what scouts thought he could be, but Murray-Boyles I think would go higher than 20 because of the defense. Next up, we have Jason Richardson, son of Jason Richardson, going here 21 to Atlanta. I like this fit a lot. Richardson, I think there were talks about him being another guy that stays another year at Michigan State, but he's been efficient. And that might be an understatement at Michigan State this year. He's taking high quality shots. I think Tom Izzo and maybe Jason Richardson are like in talks. They care about his development. They don't want to throw him into the fire. I don't know if he's ever going to hit that freshman wall at Michigan State this year because the efficiency has carried over into Big Ten play. And I think he could be a fringe lottery talent. Like he was, I'm going to pull up my big board here. He was, where did I have him finalized? I had Jason Richardson 23. He's got him 21. I think he's rising up a little bit right now. Boogie Flandu, I had 9. He's got 22. So he's a little bit lower on Boogie because he struggled with his efficiency and he's a 6'2" guard. I just think like he could be like Rob Dillingham of this year's class. I do. And maybe like it's been too up and down for Boogie since like since SEC play has started, but he doesn't turn the ball over a lot. He's a very good playmaker. He's got good court vision. You would just like for him to be a little bit more efficient. I know that's a big thing with him. And he mentions here that he's got a 47% true shooting percentage. What KenPom has classified as tier A or B opponents. And that could be a big thing. That can really make him a lottery pick to a non-lottery pick. Hugo Gonzalez going to the Magic at 23. Let's just take more non-shooters there, right? No, just kidding. Hugo can be a good defender in this class, or like in the league because of his switchability, and he's playing good competition over in Spain right now, but he just hasn't had a ton of playing time. And I think he's a developmental project in Orlando. We'll have 2 first-round picks, but seeing that Alex Karaban went 1 pick later, I'd like that fit a little bit more. As Karaban going to Dallas, oh my God, yes. I love that fit so much for them because he could be somebody that's going to get so many good looks playing with Kyrie and Luka. And Klay Thompson is probably not going to be here after his contract is up in, 2 more years with Dallas. And this will be Karaban's 3rd year. And he could be just an elite spot-up shooter for this Dallas Mavericks team. That would be such a good ad. Brooklyn getting Kamon Maluach at 25. Wow. He's got Maluach low. I feel like teams are going to see a little bit more value in Maluach to go higher than this, because I know John Shire said, like, focus on him in the second half of the year. Do not focus on him in the first half, because it's a completely different style of play that when he's came over from the like Africa Academy to Duke this year. I mean, I like him go to Brooklyn. I don't love Nick Claxton's long-term fit on this team, and it doesn't look like Day'Ron Sharpe could be that guy. I think Noah Clowney, you could even play at the 4, and Maluach, you can help develop in a team that's going to be rebuilding for the next few years. Rasheer Fleming going to Memphis at 26. We can't let this happen. I mean, I love this fit for Rasheer Fleming. I have him, I think, 14th on my big board right now. 15th on my big board, and he's one of the best athletes in this class, someone that can space the floor at 6'9", great footwork. I didn't know that his high school team was coached by Rick Brunson, and featured other former recruits, Wagner and Bradshaw. I guess, yeah, because he's playing at St. John's in that Philly, like, Camden area. Interesting. Memphis at 26, like, elite pickup for them. Markovic here from Megabasket Serbia, going here to the Nets at 27. I don't know much about him. I know, like, obviously Sam, I mean, like, for what he is at Athletic is way more, like, intertwined in international play. So there's some guys I'm starting to feel more familiar with. Like, I've heard of him. I haven't watched anything yet, so I'm not going to make any takes on him. Janai Broom going to the Celtics at 28. I like this fit for sure, because I think what their center, like, big man thing could be up in limbo with Horford potentially retiring soon, KP's health. He needs a new contract soon. You have Tillman, Kada, Cornette. I think Broom could bring a little bit more energy and upside there, and he can help you win right now instead of going a project play. And if Thomas Sorber is off the board, I would look at Broom or Danny Wolf. Ian Jackson going kind of low here to the Clippers at 29. I'm sure it's because he thinks like he's like a one-dimensional prospect, as someone that's like score first, kind of like Trey Johnson. He was lower on Trey Johnson, so maybe that's like his type of prospects he doesn't like as much. And I think Ian Jackson needs to work on some other things, maybe some off-ball defense, just obviously finding the open man, making the extra pass. And I don't know if he's going to have that opportunity the way this UNC offense is constructed, but he is an elite three-point shooter, and I have him 14 on my big board. I think he'd go a lot higher than 29, but I like him to go into the Clippers for sure. And then we have Utah going another 23-year-old Ryan Kalkbrenner out of Creighton. So they get Cam Jones and Kalkbrenner. I kind of hate that. I mean, I like Kalk maybe a little bit more, especially if they move Walker Kessler and Market in this offseason, and he could be a good big man for you right away. And I don't think it's far off from like what Kessler is right now. I think Kessler has way more upside in this league, but Kalkbrenner, I think, needs to be a little bit quicker. 7'1", a little bit clunky and awkward at times with the ball in his hands. And I don't know if he's helped or hurt his draft stock too much this year. So that was the first round. I'll quickly go through some of these second rounders, some fits that I like. Alex Tui getting going to Boston at 31. I just love Boston having potentially the 31st pick because they own Washington second. And then we have Nick Clifford going to the Hornets at 33. I like them getting some wing depth. They could definitely use that. Dink Pate going to Detroit at 34. I like that. Getting a defensive-minded guard prospect that's got length on the perimeter. You go with Duke Diarra at Arkansas. A very good scorer going to Minnesota at 35. That could be good value, because he's looked at as a first-round pick, and they're not going to have their first. Walter Clayton Jr. going to the Raptors at 36. I feel like plays up more than 6'2". Darren Williams to the Nets at 37. I know ESPN was very high on him as a riser in this class. Donnie Freeman, Mavericks at 38, I think could be a good project play. Rocco Zikarsky, I like him going 39 to the Wizards. Chaz Lanier going to the Spurs at 40. Could provide some very good defense upside for them. Miles Bird going to the Bulls at 41. Hey, if they don't get a first-round pick, that's not a bad option in the second round, but I would like to see Miles Bird and then a lottery pick in their class. I kind of hate Tyrese Proctor going to the Wizards at 42. Danny Wolf going to the Thunder at 43. We can't let this happen. We just saw them utilize Brayden Carlson against the Cavs. Danny Wolf, they're going to make look like an all-star. Xavier Wade to the Spurs at 44. Damn, they're going to have a lot of picks in this draft, so they could make a trade. You have Maxime over there at Stanford, who I haven't been able to watch a ton this year of Stanford, but people are like, this is a riser, and I got to dive into the tape a little bit more about him. Because I watched Stanford last year with Andrei Stojakovic, Peja's son, but now he's at Cal. So I haven't really watched much Stanford in the ACC. But Jalan Lowe going there to the Warriors. We're going guards, man. Nolan Traore and Jalan Lowe. Is Curry going to be on this team? Ruzic going to Atlanta at 48. Why not? Take a flyer on him. Lakers getting JZ Toppin. That's really good value, because I think he could be a fringe top 35 player in this class. Lakers getting Hunter Salas at 52. He's got my Knicks taking Ethan Almonte at 55. I mean, they may have some front court turnover, but I think I'd rather Tucker DeVrigo out of West Virginia there. I like Eric Dixon a little bit more out of Villanova too. And you get that Villanova Knicks connection, why not? So that is going to be the Athletics 2025 new NBA mock draft. Let me know what you guys think down below if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, I'd appreciate a rating and review. If you're watching on YouTube, drop a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. Hey, follow the audio feeds down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.